Right, welcome to the newspaper review segment. And busy had front pages this morning, but I'm sure Chukwudi Okolubaja is up to the task. Good morning.
I want to feel that we will survive. How are you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Claire.
Hello.
Smile a bit.
Hello, Chukwudi.
Am I going to have to remind you again that you're not bearing the world on your shoulders? And even if you were, if you have faith in him, you'll carry the load successfully.
It's your choice to do whatever you want to do.
All right.
But at least today you will get enough time to speak.
Oh, really?
I hope so.
I get parity.
Let's begin with the Vanguard. And like I hinted earlier, busy front page. It leads with the Democracy Day celebrations of yesterday. Photo page of President Bola, or picture story of President Bola Tinubu inspecting the parade yesterday here in Abuja. And it leads with the headline, Democracy Day, eminent citizens, elder statesmen chart way forward. As protests hit Abuja, Lagos, Osun, Kaduna, we need new constitution to halt Nigeria's collapse. That's according to Anyoku Nwachukwu, others. Our democracy has suffered state capture. Obi, Sanwo-Olu, Ayinde, others extol MKO Abiola. Address Nigerians suffering, Khan tells FG. Our democracy is in recession. Doesn't reflect our cultural experiences. That's according to Kuka. And finally, Gani Adams, Okey Odumakin, others canvass regionalism. Okay, and just above the masthead, Nigeria's crude oil production dropped to 1.25 MBPD in May. That's according to OPEC, and you find details of that on page 20. Lukman says APC can no longer win election without rigging, page 9. Why 1 trillion naira is needed to fund legacy projects, that's according to the NDDC, and you can find that story on page 12. Labour rejects Tinubu's claims of minimum wage agreement. That is on page 8. And, okay. Why I support full LG autonomy on page 52, according to Governor Abdul Razak of Kwara State. And just before I drop this, Mr. and Mrs. and their banters. Thanks to the harsh economy, everybody now knows the exact price of commodities. I don't have to hesitate before giving you money for foodstuff. That's according to Mr. And Mrs. responds, you won't also hesitate to cook it yourself. All right?
So what are her duties there?
I didn't get that.
I also didn't get it. Since he's now sizing up everything in terms of cost, and I should also come and do the cooking, since he knows the price and will deal exactly.
That war between the sitting room and the kitchen will continue forever. But in it, they will still find peace somehow, if love is there.
All right, let's quickly take a look at leadership. And it's also a busy front page this morning. And it's talking about the minimum wage. Labour faults Tinubu's speech, insists on 250 naira.
250 naira?
Sorry, 250,000.
That is what we will pay you. 250,000.
250,000 naira for. And then the rider says federal government urges caution to avoid retrenchment and further economic crisis. I'll take that again. Federal government urges caution to avoid retrenchment and further economic crisis. And just above that lead story, you have June 12, Ubi Anyoku Nwachukwu, others want new constitution, and you can read up on that on page 7. And the story heading leading the leadership caption, court rules on Kanu Emirate tussle today, and no political will to end banditry, says Zamfara governor. And then let's quickly turn to the picture stories. And I mean, it's all familiar picture stories, and that happened yesterday. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that's picture 1, signing the Democracy Day register. And then 2, The SGF, George Akume, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, wife of the Vice President, Nana Shatima, Vice President himself, Kashim Shatima, President Tinubu and his wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, during the Democracy Day parade in Abuja. And of course, the third picture there is the coalition of civil society organizations during the protest in Lagos yesterday. Just quickly, Democracy Day, states observed low-key celebrations on page 7. PAMSEC denies alleged sexual harassment of female staff is on page 6. And of course, presidency waves of Tinubu's slip, says he's human. Chukwudi.
Yes. Let me start with no political will to end banditry. And you attributed that to a governor. And the question you ask is, no political will on whose part?
That's what I wanted to find out.
Are we then going through a gamut of hypocritical actions? Blood is being spilled on a daily basis, the blood of our brothers and sisters, essentially up north, and somebody says there's no political will. Whom do we now go to tell us what really is happening? It doesn't make sense to us. Because they say when you beat the nose, the eyes cry. I hope I got that right.
That's a translation.
Let's go the Chinua Achebe way. I hope people understand us at the end of the day. Look, when I was in Jos, I kept saying something. Anytime I came to Abuja, I said, we are treating what's happening in Jos as a them affair. One day it will get to these quarters. Did it not eventually spread to the south? All these things? We must not toy with things that concern human life. I try not to become Pastor Chukwudi here because this is a plural society and religious freedom is something I advocate to the high heavens. But let's be careful. Nigeria may be going through a spiritual problem.
Listen, Governor of Zamfara State, Dada Lawal, says there's no political will to end banditry and kidnapping in the country. Of course, he stated this on sister TV station, and he said, if we are really committed and have the political will, we can handle all these issues of banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, and other forms of insecurity within 2 weeks.
Within 2 weeks.
He gave a time frame. Yesterday I was asking, former DG of Vaughan, when he was here on Good Morning Nigeria, we were speaking about, dividends of June 12, 1993, and he remarked that the international community, was happy with some of the economic reforms. And I asked, did they give indicators, time frame to end poverty and all that? You see, time frame is very important in whatever you do. If you do not have indicators and measurements and time frame to accomplish the task, then you are giving it that,
But I think what he's saying is the regular line of governors that they don't control the security apparatus in the country, and that's why they say he's saying there is no political will.
Yes, but sorry, Victor.
The deputy are again intoning the inevitability of state police.
Yes, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, who was also, part of the discussion, DIG Dasuki Ildanchi, admitted that despite insecurity everywhere in the country, the reality is not as it is painted.
Okay, you can euphemize it, yeah, but I know my brothers and sisters are dying somewhere.
Yes, he said,
and that doesn't make me a happy man.
He said President Bola Tinubu has approved recruitment of 30,000 policemen in phases to meet the forces' manpower needs. But you see, even the state governor that talked about political will, he also needs to play his own part.
More boots on the ground would always work for the Nigerian police force.
We must
agree that more boots on the ground will help policing in this country. But you see, the chain of command matters in resolving some critical issues in security. If a governor is in charge of his police force, he can quickly deploy people to trouble spots and get certain things quelled. As long as you give them equipment that can equate with the trouble on the ground. So everybody can come with their arguments. At the end of the day, what's going to help Nigerian citizens is what Chukwudi Okolie-Ibeaja is interested in. So even if his politics, Claire wants to play with it, or Chukwudi wants to joke with it, against the will of God and all that, eventually Providence will say where we go. And an organism must learn to preserve his own life.
Yes, I think this is a very, very fundamental statement that Zamfara State Governor had made.
He's making a point.
It should be looked into. But again, like I'm saying, the body is a system.
Yes.
It's a chain. It works like a chain. You know, you have a chain, everything works together.
Everyone has a part.
Everyone has a part to play. If you play, I mean, just look at what has happened in the FCT in the course of 1 year. We didn't believe that FCT could wear this beautiful new look. I were driving through this morning, and everywhere was lit up.
Yes,
The
everywhere
roads
was
shining.
lit up.
Yes.
The roads are
The
marked.
roads are marked.
If your lights are not working well, the possibility of you, killing over
Yes.
to the other side is highly reduced because those marks reflect light and all. It's beautiful.
Yes,
Some
someone
people will
was
say,
there before.
why are they over beautifying Abuja when Lokoja, Uromi Road
Yes.
is in? No, it doesn't work that way. Now, Abuja is the first signpost a foreigner sees when they come into this country. Apart from Murtala Mohammed International Airport, you must give a good image of the country.
Yes,
kudos to the government
Yes,
over what is happening in Abuja.
I'm just appealing to the minister to extend the street lights, down to the Yaya end, because once you pass by the Asokoro end of it, and you don't get to see the lights again, and so
it should actually go round. It should actually go round.
It should go round. Yes, the FCT.
It should go round. It's the right thing to do.
The more we go solar, the more these things will be easily solved. There's a community where I go to say, can I get a few farmlands and all that? They are now giving them solar panel gardens. 2 communities in there. They'll be lit up, and there's not going to be interruption to the power supply they get. So there are solutions to this. Is there the political will to get it done?
There's a political will in everything if you want to do it. But there's something just before you go.
Vouloir c'est pouvoir. So
Yes.
to wish or want is to be able. So says the Frenchman.
Yes. Listen, there is something I like to say about President Tinubu, and this is because of what happened yesterday.
Yes.
And people are talking about it, but he himself yesterday during the dinner, it made me laugh. Even when he said,
Tinubu would always make you laugh.
And this paper reported it. Of course, it says presidency waves off Tinubu's sleep, says it's human. And the title is, I did my dobale. Tinubu laughs of stumble. You know what dobale means.
Yeah.
So, but let me read it out.
To prostrate.
To prostrate. And he said, at the June 12th Democracy Day dinner at the presidential villa, President Tinubu, I'm putting the president there because Tinubu said, earlier this morning, I had a swagger, and it's on social media. and I just laughed.
What did I tell you What did I say the man is when we started
at
this?
Your own peril.
I said he's a dialogue maker.
Yes.
I said he's a strategic communicator. I didn't say it as a sycophant. Say what a man is. You don't have to like him.
Yes.
Be true about him. Tinubu would always get away with it. He knows how to relate to you.
Honestly.
But
He's
Mr.
human.
President, there's a lot of
He's
suffering
human.
in the land.
Yes.
Let us try as
Yeah.
much as we can
I
to see
love
whether
this.
our brothers can smile better.
I did my dobale. I loved it. I loved it.
Then the Kano Emirate tussle,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen. Matter is in court, so let's be careful what we say.
Subjudice.
But you see, I want to say something. There were those days when the equanimity of the typical northerner was something to be admired. He would tell you, God gives, God takes. I was really hoping that will still meet what is happening now. Not just to preserve the sanctity of the traditionals too, but also to label, emphasize, underline the result, the result to God eventually says what happens, which the northerner was known for. Because some people in the south in those days would say, oh no, they're too laid back. Why would they leave it all to God? Philosophers will tell you at the end of the day, who really resolves what happens in your life? Providence. I don't know whether it's too late to talk about the equanimity of the typical northerner. But cases in court, wherever it goes, at the end of the day, please can we accept what helps Kano people and the rest of them?
Yes, okay, let's look at the lead story on the front page of the leadership on labor way and minimum wage. Labor faults Tinubu's speech, insists on 250,000 naira. FG urges quotient to avoid retrenchment, further economic crisis. And the FG in this case, of course, is referring to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris. And he made that appeal, during the 2024 Synod of the Charismatic Bishops Conference of Nigeria. And the way he puts that, he said, just to put it in proper perspective, he said that the federal government is not opposed to the increase of wages for Nigerian workers, but we keep on advocating for a realistic and sustainable wage system for the workers. A wage system that will not undermine the economy, lead to mass retrenchment of workers, and jeopardize the welfare of about 200 million Nigerians.
A sarcastic bystander would say there's an element of blackmail there. Why would mention retrenchment and all that? But it could actually become a reality. If I am asked to pay 10 people 5,000 each, that will demand 50,000 from me, but I have only 40,000. I could be tempted to do away with 2 and say, 8 of you, please see if you can get the job done. That's what they are saying. Look, Chukwudi has become an economist, sort of.
And so what is Labour saying? Labour has come almost halfway,
yes,
from 494, is it 494, 496 to 250.
494 what? Okay, so
and Labour is saying this is dependent,
yes,
on the state of affairs, the state of the economy,
what
and
Labour,
purchasing power.
Yes, what Labour is saying is, look, it's so bad that anything below where we are talking about does not do it at all. And if you go to the market, what did I say? How much did I say I spent on a basket of tomatoes 5 days ago? 13,000 naira.
They don't tell me.
We don't want to make Claire look more miserable on the air, on national TV. So there is actually a case coming from Labour. But there is also the affordability, that's where sustainability comes in, of it. There is the economics of it. You give it to me with the right hand, inflation takes it away from me with the left hand. So all these have to be balanced. Actually, there's a Dr. Afolabi Olokere who is saying that, yes, Labour needs more money. But you also have to balance the fact that it's only about 1.2 million federal workers that are going to get this money. And when this thing happens, are you thinking about the private sector and all that? And he warns that at the end of the day, inflationary trend might make it seem as if he didn't even receive any money. So Labour and government should put on their thinking cap and arrive at something that gives us mutual satisfaction. You can't win all the time.
I think I don't know, but when you get some of these write-ups, you try to read in between the lines.
For sure.
Yes.
That's why we're analyzing.
Yeah, so I think what Labour is actually saying is that, look, there's still room for further negotiations. We may not agree with 62,000 naira. We're looking at 250, but you can still engage us. So, I mean...
Eventually...
No, but Labour did, I think they actually mentioned that they are not looking at even 100.
Eventually, it might settle between 80 and 100.
100, because again, you have to look at what the economic indices are saying and are pointing at. You must look at government, baggage, whether envelope, whether it's feasible or not. Though a lot of people are asking that you could cut cost of running government, several places, yes, and still make up, for the revenue.
I didn't actually finish, conclude on what Dr. Afolabi, Olokere was talking about. He's saying that maybe what matters at the end of the day is how much you help the prices of the foodstuff out there drop a bit so that they become affordable. It depends on how much social infrastructure is improved
Exactly.
so that expenses on them. Yeah, that's it. That could be the ultimate answer to all
Well,
this.
like you always say, let them keep talking.
Of course.
Right? Let them keep talking.
Of course.
And on that note, let me thank you.
Just hold on.
You don't want me to thank him?
Just hold on.
Imagine the
permanent
contrast.
secretary.
On that note, let's shut Chukudi up.
No. Just to add that the story on the alleged sexual harassment is getting even more interesting. If you read up this leadership on page 6, the details are quite interesting. The PAMSEC, has come to deny the allegation, and is saying that look,
Give some details.
Yes, and
that they were misconstrued.
Yes.
We take ladies too much for granted in Africa. You get out there on the street, one boy just claps his hands around a woman's waist right there in public. The typical American lady will tell you,
But I'm
don't.
not sure this is the case.
Victor,
The typical American lady will tell you, don't paw me. Your fingers have become paws of a lion. Don't touch me.
At this point, Chukwudi,
Yeah,
I
we
think-
take
I think
people for granted.
We have to thank you.
Yes, we have to
Let me
thank you.
thank you for
When you go,
Nobody ever likes
for
me,
insights
but God
this
loves
morning.
me.
And when next you go to the market, please buy me some tomatoes. Good morning, Nigeria continues after this time out.